Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel, and I got another recap for you guys. Married at First Sight Australia, Season 9, Episode 14 recap. And we got one disappointed bride and one that had a makeup meltdown looking like a bridezilla. But before we unpack all of this, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, set your notifications to all so you can get every post or video that I upload. And also feel free to like and drop a comment down in the comment section below. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and unpack all of this. We got our second commitment ceremony behind us. And with that being said, let's talk about this couple right here, Al and Sam, because they definitely woke up in a whole different demeanor. When they talked to production, they did tell them that after the commitment ceremony, they started to let go of expectations and really have open communication with their affection. And turns out that they finally consummated that marriage. Yeah, they did the do. They actually had sex. Wow. And, I was excited to hear that because obviously that meant that Sam let go. She allowed him to spend some intimacy time with her because I think he was definitely ready. He was ready from day one when, he tried to get a couple kisses in and she pretty much stopped him. But at this point, I guess after them, talking it out and getting closer, they got real close after the commitment ceremony last night. So that was good to see. They're making progress. I'm looking forward to seeing what this couple can do from this point forward. Like I say, put in the work. The end results are going to be great. But we got new weddings to talk about. So let's jump into that. So let's talk about our newest couple, Carolina and Dion. So Carolina, she was born and raised in Brazil. She didn't have a father in her life. And she revealed that she had a son when she was 15 years old. Now, her mom did not want her to have the child and go through the pregnancy, but she said, it's the best decision that she ever made, despite it did have an impact on her dating life. She moved to Australia for a better life. I think she said she'd been there about 10 years at this point, coming with absolutely nothing. She started a business from scratch, and what she does is that she hires out designer handbags for different events. That sounds like a pretty interesting gig. So, interesting. But she said she had everything. The only thing that she's missing is a husband. So the experts decide that the person for her was going to be Mr. Dion. He's Italian. He's involved in property development along with his father. So it's a family business. And you can tell that he definitely enjoyed the finer things in life. What his real desire is to do is to be a young, cool, hip father and start a family. And then, he's also ready to settle down. And, the experts saw that he would most definitely be pretty much a stable, person for Carolina. The thing is, Dion was pretty sharp, though. I mean, everything from his hair to his so-called serious suit. And you know what? He also said that he wants somebody that's going to challenge him. And oh boy, did he get that. And the reason why I say that is because of this. Because there was this issue before the wedding with her makeup. And the makeup artist being able to do whatever look that she claimed that she wanted. She was worried about her lashes being too natural. And boy, when she looked in that mirror, she hated the makeup. I mean, she said that it looked like crap. She said she looked disgusting. She was definitely not happy. And she turned a few minutes into 3 hours. I mean, they were supposed to leave, I think, within an hour. And this girl was just not happy with the makeup. She wanted to do it herself. By the time all of that happened, and before she got down that aisle, it had came out to be 3 hours. And I think some of the guests said that like Sam and Al and Tamara and Brent was there, and Selena and Cody. I know they were talking about how cold it was. It was chilly that day. So they were sitting out there for a long time in the cold. But the thing is, she was like, you know what? Hey, he waited all this time. He can wait a few minutes, hours, in this case, longer. And, yeah, she washed all that off. And here's my thing. And I saw one of the comments from, social media about this. They was like, it pretty much looked like the same makeup she had on that the makeup artist put on. So I really didn't see a big difference. Did you guys? Let me know, because I mean, look the same to me, but okay. But yeah, she was like, what's a few hours? He got the rest of his life with me. I'm like, yeah, he wants somebody to challenge him. He definitely got that. So finally, she finally gets there, and Dion is got to be one of the most patient people that is alive, because he was definitely relaxed, calm. He was glad to see her, and she was staring into his blue eyes, and she was happy that he understood her meltdown. And yeah, I think the only takeaway is that she felt that he was kind of on the short side. But, hey, that doesn't bother him. She even said that her 16-year-old son is probably taller than him. But he was like, my wallet is 10 feet tall, though, so it doesn't matter. I'm like, dude, are you sure you want to leave with your money? But, hey, I guess that wasn't a concern for Carolina. Now, there's this other issue that's going on, because she has her friends and his friends have a conversation, and they have made it known to his friends that Carolina has a 16-year-old son. And, I forgot the lady's name that was in her, her friends group, or his friends group, I should say. They wanted to tell him so bad, but they just couldn't bring themselves to drop that bombshell. And honestly, it's her job to tell him that. I mean, if she was on a date, she would have to, or, a date that's progressing into something like a relationship, that conversation needs to come from her to say, hey, I'm 33 or 32 years old, and I have a 16-year-old son, and, it happened, this, that, and, whatever the past circumstance was, it was her job to tell him that. And for a while, she did not want to tell him. She was like, well, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I guess I'll tell him, but maybe not. I was like, no, you need to tell him. You need to tell him. But he was picking up on something, that something is being kept from him. So that's what's prompted him to pull her to the side and talk to her to say, hey, is there something that I need to know? And then that's the friends, Ellie and Rob. His friends, Ellie and Rob, was like, nah, he needs to know, but we ain't going to be the one to tell him. But she finally told him in that little one-on-one chat they had, and she opened up about her son. Now, he was definitely taken back by it, but he did say that wasn't a red flag, and it seems like she's done an amazing job, and she should be very proud. And I'm like, okay. And she definitely wasn't even prepared for that. But, thank God it wasn't a deal breaker for him, and if he signed up for this. So who they put him with, that's something that he has to, get used to or come to grips with, at this point. But he seemed like he's okay with it. But I'm glad she finally told him, because that was her job to do. That's your son. You signed up to be married. You got a new husband. You need to be open and let him know who comes along with you. And in this case, a teenage son. So I'm glad that they were able to talk it out. He's okay with it. She's okay now that she's let him know. So we're all good. So let's talk about this other couple. Okay, so our other wedding, or our second wedding in this episode, was Kate and Matt. So Kate, who's 36, she's been single her entire life. She says she felt like a failure. She was called ugly by the boys in high school, and that's something that she's been carrying with her throughout her life. She is a twin. I did notice that. She's also a business owner with her twin sister as a clinical nutritionist. And they live together and they work together. But even though that's the case, she still feels lonely and wants a husband. And she wants kids. Now, kind of like Holly. Holly's 36. Kate is 38. I'm hoping that, maybe she had a conversation with her OBGYN. I mean, like I said before, there are folks over almost 40 who can have children. But at this point, she wants kids. Matt is who the experts put with her. He's 39. Now, he's tried to have kids with his previous wife in the previous relationship. They've even tried IVF. They opened up the house to foster kids, and I think he said 28 of them for a period of 4 years. He did say it was challenging, but he also felt that it was enjoyable. It was a reward, and he said he would do it again in a heartbeat. So at least we know that he's open to children. He was married for 7 years. He's now open to a second chance, at love. And he said that he actually enjoyed that whole love story with The Notebook. And I thought that was pretty cool. Now, the interesting thing about Kate, being that he has relationship and marriage experience, she doesn't. She has never had a boyfriend in 38 years, and I would say maybe in the 18 years of her life. That's interesting. I wonder how that's going to work. She's never had a boyfriend. Now, I don't know if she's ever been sexually active or anything, or she just never been in a relationship and had a boyfriend. I don't know. Hopefully we'll get more details on that, because that's going to be pretty rough. That's going to be awkward. This is all new territory, especially when we saw that later on how touchy-feely and affectionate her new husband is. But, he was happy to see her. He told her so many times how beautiful she was. His vows were so heartfelt, but for some reason, she don't feel a spark. She thought that he was going to have a problem not liking her. Well, he likes her, but she don't feel it with him. So there's this one-sided attraction, and it seemed like she's really disappointed. And that whole photo shoot thing was so awkward. I mean, gosh, he wanted her to sit on his lap, and she was talking about how beautiful she was, how her lips are beautiful. He's trying to go in for a kiss, and then he threw it off by talking about, excuse his breath, because he just got through having some chicken twisties. She is definitely not feeling it with him. And that's just so unfortunate, because why would you come here knowing they're going to put you with a stranger? What were you expecting? I mean, he seems to be a handsome guy. He wants children. He likes you. He finds her, Kate. He finds Kate attractive, but she's struggling. She is really struggling with this whole spark. And it is so unfortunate, because, and that's probably where that lack of relationship experience. She's never been in a relationship. I mean, maybe she has an idea of what she finds attractive, or maybe she's been caught up so long in people not liking how she look, not to realize that now this person really likes how she looks and how beautiful she is. Now she don't know how to respond back. That's going to be an interesting dynamic. Maybe she don't believe him. I don't know. I don't understand what the spark is. Not her type. What's her type? She's never been in a relationship. So I don't get that one. And yeah, there's definitely some struggles. But their conversation of struggles leads into a whole nother conversation with one of our original couples, Dominica and Jack. So at this reception, Dominica started talking about some struggles that she had with Jack, and that includes him not putting clothes in the laundry and forgetting to flush the toilet. And yeah, I was like, why are we doing this? Really, Dominica? And definitely those were negative comments. Jack didn't like it. And my thing is, she picked up on the fact that he was uneasy about it and asked him, is it too much? Okay. And he said yes. So at what point do you stop? I mean, he told her, you haven't said a nice thing about me. I mean, and it's hard for him to hear it. I mean, it might be basic and little, but all night she pretty much was saying negative things. And he said on the flip side, I'm always talking about how amazing you are, but I don't get it. Now, Dominica was looking at him like, oh, and she kind of got kind of sympathetic, and then she kind of flipped the script on him, talking about, you know what, Jack? I mean, this is really effing hard. I mean, and I know it's hard for you, but we just got to have a little compassion for each other. I'm like, where did that come from? Jack did clap back and saying that he wishes there was compassion, but she was throwing him under the bus. He's definitely not feeling Dominica at this time, and I don't blame him, and it got worse. I mean, it started to flare up. Jack tells her, that he needs some time apart. He feels defeated. I'm putting everything in a relationship and I'm not getting nothing in return. And I was so unfortunate, because why would you do that in front of all them people talking about, oh, he don't do this and he don't do that and he leave the toilet seat up. Okay, if that's a problem, then you need to communicate to him and say, hey, babe, you're living with a woman now. When I go in the bathroom, I don't want to fall in the bowl. Can you just politely put the toilet seat down? Enough said. But to bring that in front of a group of people, majority of them, you don't even know them, because you got the new husband and wife, and then you got their friends and family, and they're looking at you like, what the heck is going on? I mean, seriously. And that's embarrassing what she had to say about Jack. And I can understand why Jack felt the way it was, because it's like, if I'm always speaking good about you, why when you get in front of people, you want to talk trash and throw me under the bus? That's not fair. And that's what's going to get her in trouble, is how she run her mouth. I mean, if she have issues with this man with these things, talk about it at home. You don't talk about it to a bunch of people who pretty much probably don't even care. Why would they care about what you're saying about what your husband doing? And she thought it was funny. No, Dominica, that was not funny. And it was not cool. And the fact that you at first sympathize with him and then turn around and flip the script and then try to get mad and throw it back at him, talking about we need compassion. You knew what you did was wrong, because that's why you asked in the first place if it was too much. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the next episode, because yeah, Jack is pissed off and he want to be apart from her. Does that mean that stuff is going downhill? We already had the sex issues last week. We already had the red stoplight issue the week before that. So we'll see what happened with this couple and all of the other couples that we now have. There's another final new couple coming on in this week, and I think it's in tomorrow's episode, so stay tuned for that. So, I hope you enjoyed this recap of Married at First Sight episode 14. Until the next video, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.